Welcome back, everybody, to Just the News, No Noise. While the Trump administration has made progress in reforming our broken healthcare system, there are still major issues that need to be addressed. And as the years go on, we continue to hear about the long-term effects of COVID vaccines and the mRNA vaccines. So what can you do to help protect yourself? Joining us now, he is world-renowned doctor and chief scientific officer at the Wellness Company, also the co-author of Vaccines, Mythology, Ideology, and Reality, Dr. Peter McCullough. Dr. McCullough, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about something that just popped up in the news cycle this afternoon. President Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, announced that she has early-stage breast cancer. Now, knowing what a powerful force of nature she is, I feel bad for any cancer that has to go up against that woman because she will beat anything, but it's early stage. So that sounds to me like a good thing and you know, possibly something that's easy to get rid of. But your thoughts on that, and does the vaccine contribute to this? We don't know if she's vaccinated or not.
You know, President Trump really cast a very positive note on this, said that it's going to be very manageable. And boy, does he, you know, heap praise on her, probably more than anyone, I think, in his orbit this term. Now, breast cancer is very treatable when it's caught early. Of course, it depends on the type. Now, Susie Wiles' mother died of some form of abdominal cancer at age 71. Susie is 68, and there's no mention of her either having COVID or taking the vaccine. But what I recommend for my patients is to get the breast cancer tissue stained for the spike protein, as well as you do a test called a reverse PCR to try to identify Pfizer or Moderna in the breast cancer tissue. It actually may change the prognosis. And then, of course, she'll engage in the typical treatments and maybe surgery for cure or adjunctive radiotherapy or chemotherapy. At the Wellness Company, we have some natural products that also can be additionally applied, including Shield, which is a wonderful combination of anti-cancer botanicals.
Yeah, we're all learning so much more about how much prevention is at our fingertips if we just rely on it. I want to turn to something that also happened just a little while ago, a federal judge blocking Robert F. Kennedy's vaccine reform, slowing down the schedule for vaccines for children. Once again, the court's getting in the middle of what should normally be a science debate. Your thoughts on that and what it could mean for the reforms that are in motion right now?
This is a real blow to RFK. This was federal judge Brian Murphy in the case of AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics, versus Robert F. Kennedy and HHS. But in reality, there was six major medical organizations that were all pushing to overturn all the work that the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, or ACIP panel, had actually done over the last year, including abandoning the hepatitis B vaccine on the first day of life for healthy children who don't need it, including President Trump's trimming of the vaccine schedule to make our schedule look like Denmark. In fact, all that's now reversed. There's stays put on all of those changes. The committee may be disbanded. And so I think what we have learned from this, I'm sure it'll be fought, is that we really can't achieve medical freedom or vaccine freedom through a federal committee. It's really going to happen at the state and individual, person level. This is disappointing in many who wanted to see reform in terms of vaccines. We're back to square one, basically.
It's unfortunate. Dr. McCullough, I want to ask you about some other vaccines outside of the childhood vaccine schedule for vaccines that someone might get in their adult life. If you step on a rusty nail, you get a tetanus shot. If you get too friendly with a raccoon, you get a rabies shot. For any of these vaccines, which ones are mRNA? Flu shot, too. Which one of these are mRNA, and therefore people probably should steer clear of it because it's outside of that traditional vaccine?
Well, right now, the messenger RNA vaccines on the market are the Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines, and then the Moderna respiratory syncytial virus vaccines. And because they haven't gone through the preclinical testing for, cancer testing or cardiac toxicity or others, my advice is to steer clear of them.
So before we let you go, I want to talk a little bit about where we are in reforming a healthcare system that was completely exposed during the pandemic. There are conflicts of interest between Big Pharma and the doctors. There are bureaucrats that insert themselves into the doctor-patient relationship. And then, of course, there's the whole vaccine debate and skipping through some of the safety and health testing that we did during COVID. Where are we in that reform process, and what would you like to be seen done in the next year?
Yeah, I think a big step forward would be to remove the liability protection for vaccine manufacturers, that 1986 Vaccine Injury Compensation Act legislation. I think that would just let the reform naturally flow through the court processes, and probably a lot of the companies would withdraw their products. We just wouldn't have this battle. We're seeing some progress on individual case basis in terms of harms that have been, occurred or realized to patients during the pandemic, but no sweeping reforms at this point in time. We're not really seeing any changes with respect to conflict of interest. HHS within its own, its own agency has conflicts of interest externally. So I'm still greatly concerned we're not on the right track.
Dr. McCullough, before we let you go, we are all, I think in most regions of the country, we are in the schizophrenic spring season right now where it's 65 here today, tomorrow it's going to be 39, and everybody is getting sniffles and sick. What products and practices would you recommend to just help us thwart that?
I suggest natural immunity from the Wellness Company as a baseline, immune booster. It's a capsule, immune defense, which is a nasal spray and throat spray system. And then people, of course, keeping themselves fit and trim and doing reasonable things. If you're sick, it's reasonable to stay home. That's actually when you should stay home until you return to the workplace without a fever or, without symptoms. So I think if people did this, we wouldn't spread around these viral infections so much. And I can tell you, I think the twice daily nasal spray, throat spray, and gargle, healthy immunity, and just doing something every day does reduce the frequency of these colds.
I think we should ship cases of the nasal spray and the throat spray because we are in an office of workaholics, and I don't know anyone who pushes off work when they get a sniffle. So we're going to have to invest in that for sure. World-renowned doctor and chief scientific officer at the Wellness Company, Dr. Peter McCullough. Thanks for being with us, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And to our viewers, if you found our discussion enlightening and you want to try out some of the products that we mentioned, visit twc.health/justnews and use promo code JustNews. You're going to get 10% off of your order. That's twc.health/justnews with promo code JustNews. We'll be right back.